Good morning, everybody. I have a quote for you today. This is Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla. You know, he's responsible for so much, and, you know, up until recently, he really got no recognition for what all he's done, but that's changing, especially with SpaceX and Elon Musk, you know, getting the Tesla car. The name's getting out there, and people might not understand exactly who he was, but here's a quote from him. "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it'll make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries it's existed." Nikola Tesla. The brain is a receiver of consciousness, not the producer of it. Eben Alexander, MD. He's the guy that had the NDA. A neurosurgeon who had a profound death experience. It led him to a unconventional understanding of consciousness. He's well worth listening to. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. A French man's name. He was a Jesuit priest, and he was a philosopher. Moving on. You know, today what I want to do is try to convey why I think this is important to understand, and why this isn't just pie in the sky. You know, I didn't come upon these ideas just out of the blue. Some of them did. Some of them came during meditation and stuff, but that's another subject. But most of these things, what happened is something occurred to me, and then usually in meditation. And then it was really interesting, so I started trying to find out if any of it had any truth behind it. And ended up, you know, taking these plunges through the rabbit holes, and one of them is with the double slit experiment. It's a classic quantum mechanics experiment that demonstrates wave-particle duality of light and matter. And it's really freaky, and it is worth checking out. The double slit experiment seems to affect, the observer seems to affect the behavior of the particles. Okay, so with the quantum mechanics experiments, the double slit experiment, it's really interesting, and it's one of the most thought-provoking experiments that anyone can check out. You know, I could go through this whole video trying to explain that experiment, and it's really not that complicated, and a lot of people have the demonstrations on YouTube. Just check out a handful of them. Double slit experiment. And it's a classic experiment that's been repeated, you know, through the ages for the last 100 years, probably, or more. They were trying to find out whether light was a wave or a particle. And the freaky thing is, they discovered it is both a wave and a particle. And still, the freakier part of it is it's a wave when you're not looking at it, and it's a particle when you're looking at it. Freaky. People aren't willing to bring into their reality because it's too dang freaky. So I've run into that myself, but you know, I've chipped away at that dogma of thinking, and it's still there. There's still a lot of stuff that is just too freaking weird to consider. And even though I would love to be able to consider it and see if it has any merit and stuff, some of it is just so far out there that unless I find something else to lead me to it, I can't go there. You know, flat earth is one of them, and there's a whole bunch of others. But anyway, if you think that your mind is flexible enough to take a dive into really Plato's cave, the allegory of the cave, I should say, Plato's Republic, there is really evidence of two different realities going on right before your eyes. Well worth doing. Okay, so that's got the double slit experiment and the observation experiment. That'll you get through the double slit experiment, and you'll start to understand the problem with observation that experimental scientists go into all the time. They run into a problem. The question of consciousness is basically, how in the world can consciousness arrive? How can it come about from atoms? And for really the last, say, 25 to 50 years, man, there's been a lot of science in that area, and they just cannot come up with anything. And so we get a lot of these things like the multi-universe and things like that, trying to come to grips with these kind of things. You'd have to consider that even if the Big Bang isn't exactly right, we know from observation that the stars, basically everything started at one place, because we can see it expanding and we can follow the trajectory back into one single spot. So everything began in one place as one thing, and it expanded out. And, you know, some of the first elements were, I think helium was the first, and then hydrogen, and it built on and on and on. And as stars, as gravity attracted matter, and I'm not going to get into all that. I'll get lost and I'll lose you for sure. But what I was trying to get at is, somewhere along the line, if you're a physicalist, you think that all there is physical matter and space-time. Somewhere along the line, consciousness has to pop into the deal. And if the best minds in the world have been working on it and pouring money and resources into it for, let's say, the last 25 to 50 years, and haven't come up with one single explanation to how that could have happened, maybe we're on the wrong track. And then forever, as far as written history goes, people have had intuitions, insights that consciousness began everything. There was consciousness at the beginning, and that's where I'm hoping to try to take you. And then my particular way of looking at things is that everything has a pattern, is a pattern, basically. When you look at the Earth from a satellite view and you see the river systems, and they look a whole lot like the veins in your hands and arms and your nervous system, and it looks a whole lot like the veins on a tree leaf, and the veins of the tree leaf looks a whole lot like the limb, and the limb looks a whole lot like the tree, and the tree looks a whole lot like the root, and on and on and on. And you see these fractal patterns in everything. And it's not just the river systems and stuff like that. It's everything. It's in geometry, it's in math, it's in language, it's in civilization, it's everywhere. So I base my understanding that these patterns are one fractal that has many, many dimensions and arms and tentacles sprouting out everywhere from it in all directions, more directions than the 4 that we can conceive. And that's hard to get your mind around. The nature of consciousness and its relationship to the physical brain. This is simply an emergent property of the brain that arises solely as a result of the complex nature of activity and biomechanic processes happening in our heads. But I'm here to tell you that I believe that this view is incomplete or outright mistaken. There is a man doing, his company is doing experiments. I'll get the name for you later, but he's working with worms, these flatworms. I think they're called Pleidia worms. But the cool thing about these worms is that they reproduce by breaking themselves off. So the Pleidia worm is a remarkable creature that reproduces by literally ripping itself in half. But here's the here's the fascinating part. The new half that grows from this division doesn't just grow a new body, it grows an entirely new nervous system, including a new head and a new brain. And this new brain retains its memories and experiences of the old one. Now, that's a whole can of worms there, but they train these worms, and they can experimentally prove that they are retaining this information. They can remember mazes and things like that. So how is this possible if consciousness was simply an emergent property of the original brain? This example suggests that consciousness, or at least the informational substrate of the consciousness, can exist independently of a specific physical brain structure. And I want to get into some crazy stuff here. I'm trying to relay that your consciousness may not be in your brain. I don't think it's in your brain. I think there's many, many, many reasons why not to think it's in your brain. Even though I've always thought that, I'm sure most of you, or if not every one of you, think it's in your brain. Another intriguing phenomena that challenges conventional views are deathbed visions. Many people who are nearing the end of their lives report having vivid, lucid experiences and visions that are often shared by those around them at the bedside. These shared deathbed visions point to the possibility that consciousness can transcend the individual brain and even be experienced collectively. How else can we explain the multiple people reporting the same visionary experiences at the same time someone is passing? And similarly, NDEs are near-death experiences. Now, near-death experiences have been explained in many ways, mostly by trying to say that it's oxygen deprivation in the brain. And that was holding water pretty good until a lot of the doctors and then neuroscience scientists and neurosurgeons and stuff started having these experiences as well. And these are people that understand those type of phenomena, oxygen deprivation and stuff. They're saying, I understand that, and that's not this. So they're saying that it's definitely not these conventional explanations. Countless people who have been clinically dead or near death have reported profound transformational experiences. I can just add, you don't have to be dead or near dead. This stuff can happen during meditation or just spontaneously. We must approach these phenomena with a critical eye and open mind. That's all I'm asking for people, is to look at these things critically with open mind. It's difficult to do because it is so far out there for most everybody, including me. You know, it was very difficult, but when it happened, when I came to that understanding, kaboom, it's like everything just fell into place. It's time we expand our horizons and consider the possibility that consciousness may not be solely a product of the physical brain. So I encourage all of you to keep an open mind to explore these questions further, not to simply accept the conventional wisdom. The nature of consciousness is one of the greatest mysteries of all time. I believe the answers we seek may fundamentally reshape our understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. Thanks. Thanks for watching. There's going to be more right now. It's continuing. Importantly, by keeping an open mind and exploring these questions about consciousness, we may find that our understanding in one area can inform and enhance our knowledge in seemingly unrelated fields. This could inform our understanding of neuroscience and biology, psychology, physiology, even philosophy. By making these cross-disciplinary connections, we can unlock new avenues of discovery and deepen our overall comprehensive. Our understanding of consciousness evolves. It's quite possible that we see new technologies advance and emerge. Come to recognize that consciousness is something more than just a product of our brain. It may inspire development of new technologies that interface with consciousness in novel ways. This could lead to breakthroughs in areas like brain-computer interfaces, neural implants, or even creation of artificial consciousness systems itself. Now, artificial consciousness, I don't think it's going to work by building bigger and bigger and better computers. I think that will be the main factor. But I think that consciousness will enter those machines. Those machines won't be producing it. Just like us, we're receiving consciousness that's already out there. I don't know how to say it any other way. There's multiple dimensions. Consciousness is the fundamental base of everything. Consciousness creates everything. So as we're working on creating computers, the consciousness that has created us is creating the computer through us. And if consciousness is going to be in that computer, the computer is going to receive it. By approaching the nature of consciousness with an open mind and a curious mindset, we stand to gain profound insights that can positively impact our personal lives. Our cross-disciplinary understanding and even the technological advancements that shape our future. It's an exciting frontier of exploration that I believe is well worth our attention and dedication. I think this is a wonderful time to be alive, and I appreciate everybody listening to me. I hope that you'll subscribe and follow me. And as I get better at this, I believe that I will be able to get the point across. If you guys will be patient and keep checking in, I'll get better. This will get better. Thanks. You know, here's something, if you believe it, it'll blow your mind. And the crazy part is there is reason to believe it. The reason why I believe it, it's happened to me. Beep. That's hard to admit, even though it's true, because that's too freaky for people to understand. I'll tell you about it here in just a second. So let's look at this near-death experience, out-of-the-body experiences. It also suggests that consciousness may not be confined to the physical body. And discussing OBEs could further strengthen the argument that consciousness may operate on a level beyond our brain. So let me tell you about my experience. I've told probably half a dozen people. I doubt it's been many more. At least twice that were very clear to me what was happening. One was I was a child, 8 to 10 years old, I don't know, somewhere in that area. And I was having a migraine, and my mom had taught me how to meditate. I didn't call it meditation then, neither did she. What I called it was hiding from pain. And what it consisted of was laying on the bed, was I put a wet rag over my eyes and lay perfectly still, perfectly still. Only thing moving is your chest from breathing. I mean, not no scratching of itches, no twitching of fingers, nothing. Any movement, it could shoot you out of this thing so quick, and the pain come rushing back, and I don't even want to think about that part of it. But, so I had a really, really bad migraine. Had a wet rag on my eyes. I'm laying on the bed perfectly still, and I start feeling the pain. It's gone. It happens a little bit gradually. It gradually fades away a little bit, and then poof, it's gone. As long as I don't move a hair on my body, it's gone. First little movement, boy, it comes rushing back terribly. So I'm laying there, wash rag over my eyes. I've been still, I don't know how long I've been there. 30 minutes, an hour, maybe longer, I'm not sure. But as I'm realizing the pain's gone, I also realize I'm not on the bed anymore. I'm in the corner of the room up at the ceiling, and I'm sitting on part of the texture of the paint, so I'm really tiny. And I'm looking back at the bed, and I see myself there. And I know I can't move. I can't do anything or say anything, or the pain will probably come rushing back. So I don't know how long I sat there being still watching myself. But I think I probably fell asleep at some point. And then I think the next day I was telling my mom what had happened, and she was going, "Oh, you were just having a dream." And I was good with that, but I knew, man, I knew it felt so much different than a dream. Then the second time was I was exerting myself. I was like running like long distances. And I got into that zone. And this is the weird part. I found myself surrounded by people in robes. So what I was saying is, yeah, I found myself surrounded by these people in robes. Were kind of light gray or white. I can't really tell you for sure, but there were several of them. There were more than 6, maybe there was, 9 or 10, something like that. And the most striking thing about this thing, this whatever it was, vision, was the woodwork. I was in the center of an oval of this beautifully carved woodwork. It was an oval all the way around me, and it was stepped up like bleachers, or I don't know, or like an auditorium or something, where each row of seats is behind and up a little bit. And these people, whatever they were just looking at me. I didn't get the feeling of being afraid or judged or anything like that. It was like curiosity. And boom, just like that, I'm back in my body and doing my thing. But some you can say it's an hallucination, sure. It felt like something other than a hallucination, and something I haven't spoke to very few people, because who wants to say that you're having a hallucination or something, or who knows what it was, but it felt real. They all felt real, both of them. And there's been other times, like in meditation, where, man, see these beautiful places. I think it's like, in the meditation, it's kind of like maybe like a lucid dream, where you're completely aware of everything, but it's like a dream state. Everything is so beautiful and brand new. I mean, the strangest things, I should say the most common boring things are of immense interest. They're just so fascinating. It's like one time I was at this was deep in a meditative state, and I was on the porch of this cabin out in the mountains somewhere, and it had like a tin roof and a big porch, and it was raining, but it wasn't raining hard, and I was watching the water come off the roof in these little streams, and as it was hitting puddles and making little concentric rings, man, oh man, it was just so beautiful and so fascinating. I don't know how long I spent watching that water, and I hated to leave that place. But I usually spend probably average 2 hours in meditation in the mornings. Sometimes it may be an hour, or maybe even less. I don't think so, but something like that. And then tops is like 3 hours. And once the world wakes up and starts moving around, because I do this early in the morning, about 4 in the morning. But once cars and stuff are moving around, and it's time to get up and time to greet the world. So anyway, when you've had those kind of experiences, you start considering these other explanations for consciousness. Okay, leaving it that. That was a wild story. I really wasn't meaning to tell that story, but what the heck? let's get it out there and see what people think. Give me a comment. Let me know what you think.